Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ian, and I am here with Corey and Ralph, and we are one of Toronto's most innovative and active teams in central and downtown Toronto for real estate. We aren't here to regurgitate boring stats for you. You can find those anywhere. We're here to share what we see boots on the ground in Toronto real estate market before the stats come out and the pundits weigh in, so you can be in the know and make informed decisions. If you're interested in getting the down low, the good, the bad, the ugly of what is happening in Toronto real estate in real time and learning about the trends before they become the trends that no one else is talking about, then you have come to the right place. We're Fox Marin Associates, and here's what we see in Toronto from our boots on the ground perspective. My name is Ian. I will be your pseudo host for this evening, afternoon, morning. By the way, this is the last week of March in 2023, and I'm joined by the lovely and effervescent Corey Marin. She's our in-house hype girl, resident listing broker and expert, and also the very handsome Ralph Fox, analytical, investor-driven macro picture broker of record. Please.
And sometimes effervescent.
Sometimes also effervescent.
So good to see you boys. How's everyone doing?
Whew, I'm
Really
winded.
good.
I'm winded after doing all of the talking for the first 30 seconds.
I love the intro.
How are you guys?
We're good. It's a beautiful day today. And it feels good that knowing that spring is just around the corner, which I know is a hot topic for all of us in this business right now. So it's good to feel a little bit of sun on your skin and double-digit temperatures. So we just have to get through these next couple weeks, and I think we can put the winter jackets away.
100%. The spring vibe is definitely in the air.
Yes.
Yeah. We need one of those.
Right,
we need one of those buttons that goes nah, 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 spring market. Nah, nah, nah. Push the button.
Didn't we just hit spring market, technically speaking, since March breaks wrapped up? So last week would have been like what we all consider to be the beginning of Toronto's spring market, or am I wrong with that?
I'm very much with you on the button. I just don't know about that sound, but we can move beyond that. Just look outside, see the sun shining, and know that we have rounded the corner in more ways than one.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are here. It's on. Technically, legally, spring is actually, it has started. And I basically only made it to this seat at the last possible second because I just came from 5 showings and all of them were packed. And as a sidebar comment too, I'm noticing that in this kind of COVID's almost really gone.
But what's COVID?
Exactly. Agents are allowing like double booked showings. So I was at showings this afternoon where there were 4 groups in the house at the same time, not at an open house either. So I just want to warn you that that's going on again.
I love that when you get to your appointment time and there's like 3 other agents there, and then some agents feel that they own that half an hour and you're not permitted in the house at the same time, and everyone's standing on the porch and they lock you out.
Yep.
And then everyone starts battling and negotiating. I'm like, we can share the space. And so I'm like, why don't you do the upstairs and we'll do the main floor? And you're like negotiating, like working around everybody, and everyone's whispering because no one wants to hear what everybody's talking about. So it definitely has been a while since we've seen those double book showings, which are kind of fun to see that kind of frenzy and the vibe out there like that.
Absolutely. It's especially stressful too if you've got 4 or 5 showings booked in a timely order right after that, because you're like, no, you can't mess up my schedule for today. This will all fall down. It's like a row of dominoes. If you knock this one out, the whole of the rest of the day is up.
And by the way, I'm on time, so I've done nothing
and this
wrong.
is my time. Yeah.
Yes, my time.
I know. I'm always like, here's my showing booked, and I'm like showing it. Here's my time. Well, it's even harder. It's even harder in a freehold is challenging, but when that happens with a condo and everyone's gathered around the lockbox. So for our viewers out there and our listeners, when you're showing a condo, the lockbox system is like, it requires a treasure map, and all the lock boxes are generally on a big rail and they're all packed together, all these black lock boxes. So everyone's hunting for them and trying to get the code and get their keys and scrambling for them. But then the next thing you know, if it's a busy, popular listing, like a loft or something like that, or a penthouse, there's like a lineup of people and everyone's like scrambling to get the key. And it's almost like you have these verbal arguments with other agents trying to get in. So it's always a thing. So scheduling is very difficult for sure.
Everybody's busy calling the listing agent as though it's like mom. Like, hey, it's my turn. It's my turn. Well,
okay.
Since we're talking about the spring market, let's jump into what our topics are for today. And I think what I want to start with both of you, asking both of you your own opinion on this. What are you seeing and what are you surprised by? Any initial thoughts?
Ralph, do you want me to jump in?
You always jump in.
It's true. So, well, you always interrupt
You have
me.
a choice. That's the question.
I'll start talking and you'll just interrupt me. So
thank you for asking this time.
Stick with how things go.
Listen, don't make me separate the two of you, okay?
And for those of you who don't know, Ralph and I happen to work together and live together. So if you...
And we have quarantined together.
Yes. And we have a dog together. So
lots of together going on.
If we start having a domestic fight during this recording, you'll understand why.
Ian will know what to do.
I'm going to need a mute button for one and or both of you. And then I'll
and maybe a shock button to go with that mute button.
I already feel like the audience is on my side, so I'm not even worried at all. Okay, so what are we seeing and surprised by? I'm definitely surprised by what Ian just referenced, that there's energy out there and there's some zest and some velocity. I don't think we expected Q1 and Q2 to be as busy as it's been. I think that's partially because the buyer sentiment has changed a little bit. People have adjusted to the interest rate change and they're feeling a little bit more confident that the market's not going to crash and nothing bad is happening and there's opportunities out there and people can work their minds around the interest rate and payments. Perhaps there's a little bit more interest in properties that are a little bit more affordable in terms of price point. And I know for a fact that homes under $1 million, including the condo segment, have been seen an uptick for that very reason. Supply is a big challenge. So we just don't have a lot of inventory out there. And we'll definitely get into that a bit more. But sellers don't need to sell right now. Like no one's under financial duress. We're not in a recession per se. So people don't have to make a move. And why would you want to list your property when we're not at that peak height of the market? So a lot of people are holding off with a wait and see attitude unless they have to make a shift for family reasons or work reasons, or they're getting divorced or they're retiring and they're downsizing. So we're on an inventory crunch. So anything that comes to market that's got legs, good price, marketed well, it's getting a lot of attention, specifically in that single family residence. It's the freehold market.
Mm-hmm. Ralph, what do you think? Anything to add? While you think about it for a second. Do you want a minute? Do you want a minute?
20 minutes later, get ready, Ian. We got to sit and listen. Get ready. Here comes our lecture.
Corey's apologizing in advance.
Here we go.
I think it's really interesting. I think we all knew that inventory was going to be tight going into the start of the year. I think now that we are into the year, a lot of people are surprised by how tight inventory is continuing to remain, and it's actually getting tighter. If you look at days on the market, if you look at
the absorption rate.
Thank you very much. If you look at the absorption rate, which essentially what that does is it looks at how many listings are on the market and the time it takes for all of those listings to sell if no more listings were to come on the market as of today. And so we're at 2 months of inventory, and we're basically looking at April's numbers. And then in low rise, we're looking at about 1.5 months. Mm-hmm. So low rise is extremely tight. Even condos are tightening. And I think that's going to be a continuing narrative. I really think that the last thing anybody wants to do, be it an investor or end user, meaning someone who lives in their home, is actually sell their Toronto real estate. Mm-hmm. I think people will cut back everywhere if they're facing variable interest rate increases so that they can keep their Toronto properties. And so, I don't think we're going to see this rush of properties that people were anticipating that we would be seeing by this point or time of the year. And I also think what's very interesting is how the banks are working with a lot of homeowners in terms of stretching amortization. CIBC recently came out, and I think 25% of their mortgages now have been stretched to 35-year amortizations. So the banks are really supporting homeowners as well to ensure that people are not under duress or having to sell under duress. And that's something we're not seeing. We're not seeing major rafts of sellers who have to sell. So I think the inventory issue is something that we're going to see for a long time to come. And it's been a typical story in Toronto, but I think it's going to become the narrative as we go deeper into this year.
I have a question, Ralph. You just mentioned April numbers. I'm just wondering what you were referencing when you said that.
Oh, sorry. I meant April 2022.
Understood.
So, and that was just before the interest, or just as the interest rates started to go up. So that was a totally different market. And we're starting to see similar behavior in inventory in a much different climate, given the differential in interest rates being up 400 basis points.
100%. Mm-hmm. And Ian, in terms of your buyer clientele, I mean, you have a huge array of clients, some at the entry level, but some in that more luxury price point. How are they feeling looking at, what's on MLS right now and their property matches in their search with you? What's happening on that end?
It's definitely getting better. I mean, with years of experience now, you can kind of see the trends and how this comes around. And post-March break, I was telling people in January, February, it's probably going to be like this for a little while. If you've got a property and you're not under duress, like Ralph was saying, most of them are not, they're probably going to try to put it out. Once the weather started to turn, people have come back from vacations with kids and the schools have been closed, blah, blah, blah. So we are seeing a little bit of that seasonality, that cyclical nature where there's been an uptick, but it's definitely not the standard, not the typical where we're seeing many options for every one of these buyers. We're seeing a handful of them. But I was actually going to make a prediction in the sentiment, which is sort of leading into my next question for you, is that I'm seeing the buyer confidence that's been around for the last 6 months eroding, where the buyers are starting to realize almost everything is kind of now starting to lean into that multiple offer situation again, instead of something coming out and me having a week to think about it and having some control over the situation. So I think sellers are not as confident as they once were. They're a bit cautious, but I think the buyers who sort of had a little bit of moxie about like, oh, I got a little control going on here, I got some options. I think over the next few months, we're going to see a little bit of that eroding.
Oh, 100%. It's totally eroding. Like any buyer that was hoping they could score a deal, it's over. Like, you missed your chance. Q4 was your opportunity to go in there, be aggressive, negotiate, add conditions, ping things back and forth. That was your chance. And now, even in the condo segment, anything that's a good product that's out there, that's well priced, has good views, is a quality builder in a great area, is going in multiples or for exceptionally fair price. So the whole concept that buyers have a little bit more wiggle room to make this move up the property ladder, it's gone. I think that the time is over, unless you're looking at like an asset that's a little bit more challenging, like a tenanted condo, or an up and coming area that people haven't wrapped their heads around, or a listing agent that doesn't know what they're doing. And they've made some critical errors with their listing date or their pricing or offer strategy. There might be some wiggle room there. But yeah, I totally agree. The sentiment is changing and the confidence of the buyer is shifting because they know they can't run out and get whatever they want.
Yeah. What's there today may not be there tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Like, I'll push back a little bit on that in terms of sentiment. I think buyers are nervous when they feel they're in a downward market. And so I think a lot of the nerves that we were seeing with our buyer clients end of Q4, now that there's some certainty and stability, people are like, okay, well, the market is now trending up. Maybe now is a good time to buy. And I think you've had a lot of people who are sitting on the sidelines, nervous over the fall and going into the winter, are like, okay, well, there's some stability. I better get in now. And so I think you're seeing a lot of people who are waiting now coming back into the market. And I think that's where the real sentiment has changed, where people are realizing that now may be a really good time to buy or make a move.
Oh, I know. FOMO is a real thing in real estate.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, buyers could have these exceptional, extraordinary opportunities to get what they actually want. And when they have that chance and there's like a clear alleyway to do it, they don't reach out and grab it. And then as soon as like all their friends and family are like moving on things again and their colleagues at work are like buzzing around properties, then everybody wants to get back in the market and then they're competing. I'm like, you just not shit. You just shoot. You didn't shit yourself on your foot. You shoot yourself in the foot. Oh.
Nobody wants to shit themselves on the
No.
foot. No, ever.
I'm sure somebody's done it.
No matter how confident you are about anything, don't shit yourself in the foot. I think, Ralph, you and I are kind of talking about slightly different things. I agree with you. I think the buyers are like, I'm good to get back in. I feel like we're coming back out. When I say their erosion of their confidence, it's the swagger that they have some control over what the market is doing. That for a short time they felt like they had options and they were going to find that deal, and now they're saying, I'm just going back into the market because I feel okay about it. They feel fine about buying, absolutely, and they feel fine about interest rates and us probably not coming down much further. But they're like, no, I've sort of learned that the sellers, it's still a seller's market. I am not driving this bus. The sellers are driving this bus again.
Exactly. But when people feel that they have options, that's when they fail to do anything. And I think that goes back to Corey's point. And what I was saying is that people are feeling, well, if I have all these options, why should I do anything right now? Because I have options. And it's only when people fear that they don't have options, that fear of missing out, that people actually start to think, okay, well, maybe I better take action now because I don't have 5 choices. And sometimes I find, not just in real estate, but with life, if you give people too many choices, they'll freeze. And I think that's one of the things that happened in the fall when there were a lot more options for people just froze. And so, it's that pressure, I think, that people are starting to see that's making them move. And that's why our phones are ringing right now. And we're having lots of conversations.
And I think people respect and like boundaries and deadlines too. So I think the multiple offer day, knowing that they have a week to consider something and then go in and make a move, is actually making people do something versus, here it is, it's on the market, here's the price coming.
So true.
Right? And they're like, well, is it going to be this price 6 months from now? I'm just not going to do anything. Further to your point, right?
Yeah.
So now it's deadline oriented.
I think there's a consensus, at least in the industry, that we may have seen the bottom. And the reason just why I say may is just because the factors that are affecting the market are macro, and they're the economy, and who knows where things are going to end up over the course of the next 6 months. But if you look at the way things have played out and the way they're trending, especially month over month, it definitely looks like the bottom. We may have already seen the bottom.
Yeah, totally I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I have a question for you guys. If you were working with a buyer and a seller, so somebody who's trying to move up the property ladder and make that next leap, would you suggest that they buy first and sell second, or sell first and then buy afterwards?
The chicken or the egg question.
I know. What do you guys think? I have my thought. Ian, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, you're throwing to me?
Tossing to you.
Yeah,
over to you. Host.
Over to you. I still think that even with what we're seeing out there right now, I think it's a case-by-case basis. What have you got? I think you guys would agree that Toronto is made up of dozens and dozens of markets. It's not one. So let's have a micro look at your pocket and what's going on there, and how quickly things are selling, what they're selling for, versus what it is you'd like to buy and what's going on there, and kind of do that cost benefit list of, how do we order this so that you're somewhat protected, but actually can do and achieve what it is that you're out to do. So I know that's wishy-washy. I'm giving you a gray answer to a black and white question, but I think there is not one answer to this right now in my mind.
Okay. I agree.
Ralph,
over
to you.
Yeah, which way am I?
He's this way. He's this way to me.
Wherever you are on the viewer's screen, over to you.
Yeah. Up, down. It's like Fox Marin squares.
Exactly.
I'll
Let's
agree.
not date ourselves, Ralph. Let's not date ourselves.
Some of us. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ian. It really, really depends. I think you're beyond as well just looking at pockets and activity. I think a lot would depend on the actual situation of the client. So do they have kids? If they have kids, they're going to be far less flexible in terms of risk taking from a lifestyle perspective and living in an Airbnb and school districts everything else. So I think risk tolerance comes into it. I think if the client has a mortgage and they're at 2%, is it portable, and how would that time frame work in order to port it would be something really, really important question. And so I think it used to be just a straight buy first, then sell in the Toronto market, typically because the market has been so challenging. But I think in this environment, which is equally challenging, just the equation has changed a little bit. I think it needs to be really, really nuanced. And we have multiple clients right now that are trying to sort this out on all different levels at all price points. And it's really a custom answer depending upon each person's situation. And I think it's one of the things that makes a strong agent, making sure that your client risks are being mitigated, both from a financial point and from a personal standpoint. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's a straight answer, as there used to be prior to, let's say, COVID.
Yep. And Ralph, just to ask you a question, you mentioned Airbnb. Could you just explain to the viewers or the audience what you mean by why that would come into play?
Well, if you decided to sell first and, you had 30, 60, 90 days to find a place to live, and you couldn't or didn't for a whole host of reasons, you could very well be homeless. And so oftentimes, if you are a seller and then you can't buy, you could end up having to live in an Airbnb, which could be tight, especially with a bigger size family. So yeah, that always falls into the equation of the decision-making process for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many little parts to this too. Yeah. Do you have a mortgage that you want to port because it's amazing? And if so, we don't want to get you into a situation where you have to lose that. Right. And also,
I think I said that.
I think you did, but I'm doubling down on it, just in case. But also, we should maybe explain bridge financing too, right? So as you mentioned, the financial covenant of, can you afford to actually have two if the situation becomes that you're not selling after having bought and you need to keep both of them, say, for weeks or months? Yeah. So
the other thing that I think that sellers and buyers should use in their toolkit when they're negotiating is really long closes. If they're trying to juggle this. So give yourself as much time, if you can, in the negotiation process to give yourself that wiggle room. So we have structured some sales of recent when we're acting for the seller and they want to buy, and we've gotten them a 90-day close, and now they've got 90 days on their side to go shopping. And that is a lot easier to look for a new home or condo with 90 days versus a 30-day deadline. So I think that's something else to just keep in mind, is how you're working that domino effect and playing with those closing dates. And closing dates are an excellent tool in structuring an awesome deal. And they're a really good bargain chip as well. So I think that buyers and sellers should keep that in mind. And I think more than ever, and this will probably change, people seem to be a little bit more flexible with that right now, because everyone knows that if they're getting a solid price in a market that's a bit more wishy-washy, they seem to have a little bit more flex on the closing than we've seen in former years. So keep that in mind for our audience today. If you are looking to do something similar, keep that in your back pocket as well.
Mm-hmm. And of course, if you know that this is in the pipeline, it's never too soon to start on your own, decluttering, fixing things, doing all of the usual, getting ready to sell. And you know what? It's spring anyway, so it's time for a spring cleaning. Take some stuff to Value Village, do that paint job, find those trades to fix those little things you've been ignoring for the pandemic period, and get that stuff ready to go. Even if you don't end up selling, it's always a good time to be taking care of your property. So
yes,
yeah. But if you do suddenly have to move, all that stuff is already done, and it was done while you had the time.
Yes, I can say it as probably the agent on our team that works the most with sellers on that specific thing. It blows my mind how long it takes people to do this, like to get around to their basements, and just, I mean, it's not fun work really to like declutter your crap and to like, fix little patch walls and take down television mounts, all that stuff. It's not sexy. I understand, but like literally it is the hardest part of the process of selling for most clients. Mm-hmm. Is just dealing with their shit. And I'm using the word shit again, second time in one episode. But like people they get overwhelmed. So they do that whole, I'm just not going to deal with it. And like we could send them spreadsheets and work back calendars and deadlines and walkthroughs and trades and get it quoted, and still people will not get to it. So I totally agree, Ian. This is like an awesome thing for sellers.
Yeah.
Just get organized, because it will take you forever, because there's like only like out of all the hundreds of sales we've done, there's only been like 10 people that seem to be good at doing this. The rest of them have been slow.
The ultimate A-type personality who actually gets immense satisfaction from taking care of these things.
I'll do it for you. I would do it. Like, let's just go.
Yeah.
And this is where the FOMO comes in, because we can give these lists to our homeowners who are potentially going to be sellers, and they'll sit on that for months. And then they buy a place and they have to rush to market. It is unbelievable the amount of hustle and fear and sweat and anxiety and pheromones that all go into one to get that job done. And all of it could have been avoided had they looked at Corey's spreadsheet and responded to her.
That seller has shit themselves on the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look to us for creating trends, including new expressions like shit yourself on the foot.
We can call the first episode that. That's hilarious.
Hashtag.
Yes.
Yes, there we go. I want to ask you guys another question. So you've both been agents for years and years. What is it like now in this market to, like, how have you found that your role has changed as an agent? Is there something specific that comes to mind immediately as like, oh, this has definitely done a 180 for me?
Would you like me to answer, Ralph?
I was expecting you to, so.
I know. I was waiting. I was
waiting
trying
too.
to be well behaved.
Yeah.
I was like, I won't go.
If you both need a minute, I think I know what I would say.
I think I know what I'm going to say. I think I'm
I
going to say.
think Corey knows what she's got.
I always know what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we spend a lot more time front ending all of our clients with information and knowledge. And we always have been like that, but I feel like we're doing that even more. And so before we even start getting to the hustle of seeing properties or preparing a property for sale, we have already gone over all of the things we've talked about right now. Like, speak to your mortgage broker, understand that your tax implications, what kind of closing would this mean? What happens to your kids if you sell your house, and what school will they go to, and what happens at interim period? Like, all these things, we are like front ending that all at the beginning, so that we can have a very transparent dialogue about how realistic it is to pull all of this off now. And it's not like 3 years ago where you had a condo and any agent could list anything with upside down pictures of a bathroom from their iPhone and a picture of a stained carpet, and it would sell for a record-breaking price. We're not in that market right now. So I think a lot of this, being very thoughtful about our pricing, our strategy, making sure that we are still fine-tuning things all the way up to the list date, or fine-tuning everything all the way up to the offer date if you're representing a buyer. I don't think I've ever been more acutely tuned into the what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the answer to my question. Your question, not my question, your question.
Yep. Ralph, I'm going to jump in here and just follow it, because I was essentially going to say the same thing. I think the educational part, and this ties into what you said, Ralph, earlier, which is, it was an open shut case up until early 2022, that it was like, you buy and then we will sell you right away. That is really 99% of the transactions. They're going to go this way. This is how we do it. And now it's the education. So further to Corey's point, it's the same thing. It's the conversation, the possibilities, running through it all, the emotional support, the pricing, the possible outcomes, possible scenarios.
Just keep going.
Edit that out.
I'm a side entertainment. No. Somebody will find it funny.
Upstager, totally upstaged.
Okay, keep going.
But I agree. I threw the question out there, and you kind of said exactly what I was going to say. Is I think there's more conversation in all aspects with our buyers and sellers about what's going on out there and how do we proceed and make sure you're protected, but also achieve what you want.
Yeah, I think the great thing about markets like this is they really show the value of why you work with a good agent.
Yes.
And going back to what you were saying earlier, in April 2022, we started getting this inkling that something wasn't right in the market, and we sensed a change. And we told all of our clients that they could no longer buy first; they had to sell first. And one of the reasons why real estate prices dropped so much in May, in June, in July, is because the agents who let their clients buy first found themselves in the situation, their clients, where they bought in one market and had to sell in another market, and they absolutely had to sell.
Amen.
And
yes.
so, everything might seem fine today, but, when things change, who do you want in your corner? And so all of our clients, not one of our clients, and I think we were lucky as well, but got burned that way. And so I think it's really highlighted to a lot of people when they're looking at making maybe the largest financial decision of their life, who they want to represent them really, truly does matter. And when you come into our office, I wrote on our big whiteboard, strong markets make weak agents. And that's the truest statement. And people got weak. And in our business, we got bloated with 70,000 some odd agents. And, those numbers are dwindling now, and you'll probably, by the end of the year, see them probably closer to 60,000.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
And I think those numbers should go lower. But that's my personal opinion. But we're now in a climate where you're seeing 30 to 40% less transactions than a normal time period with the same amount of agents. And so I think we're in a bit of a war of attrition within our business, which I welcome very, very, very much, because it's much needed. And I think ultimately the consumers will be best served because of it. So I think it's a win-win to the great agents, and I think it's a win to the consumer. So I think it's a really challenging time. I think we're working harder for less, and we're having more conversations. And I feel that we're having to be, what Corey was saying, thoughtful and intentional with everything that we do. Mm-hmm. And so it's a really interesting time period. As much as people would like to think that we're out of the idea of a soft landing or a hard landing, I think there's a lot of challenges ahead. I think the fundamentals of the Toronto real estate market are incredible, but there's definitely some bumpy roads coming. And when you need to make these decisions, it's really important, just like you would with a stockbroker, just like you would with a financial analyst, just like you would with an accountant, just like you would with a travel agent, for God's sakes. Mm-hmm. All of these things matter, but I think we're really showing our value, and I think it's a great time to be in this business and be a professional.
Agreed.
And that's really what the point of this show, this program is about, right? It's like getting up to the minute advice on what's going on right now. So working with us is a lot like this. What is actually going on out there? Don't tell me the monthly numbers. Don't tell me the year over year, unless how it relates to right now and what's going on. But,
and it's super fun, obviously.
Yes. Well, that too.
Yeah. Hashtag.
I've got one more question on my list for you, but I think we've kind of accidentally already covered it. There's no such thing as a deal, is there? There's no deals. Do you want me to tell my little old lady story where I was doing
little old ladies,
doing an open house, and and there's a little, I think she might have been Italian, and she was at the door, and I was like, I'm really sorry, because the houses were connected. It was a semi-detached. And I said, I'm really sorry about all the traffic and all the noise. And she's like, oh, it's fine. People sell, it happens. What are you going to do? Et cetera, et cetera. And I said, have you ever thought about selling? And she did this. $1 million. Like there is not. And the point of that story is there isn't anyone in Toronto who doesn't know what's going on and has big numbers in mind for their property. There is no little old lady that you can walk up, knock on the door, and offer her $50,000 and take her $3 million Trinity Bellwood's property off her hands because she doesn't know what's going on.
She has no clue.
And I always use that anecdote to express to people, if you're looking for a deal, not likely to happen. I never say never in real estate, but very unlikely that you're going to find a deal.
And can we just also touch on the point for all of our viewers out there that there's no such thing as like a secret website with all these mystery properties that we'd have never heard of before? Like, it's so funny to me that clients and buyers alike, and just your average like dinner party guest, think that there's these like exclusive like off-market opportunities that are all out there, and we're like hiding them from our clients and we don't want them to see. And I'm like, it's like there's just so much information and so many links out there, and a lot of those links are like dead links that still live on the World Wide Web, and so they go to nowhere, and they're properties that have generally sold like 3, 4, 5, 7 years ago, and people are like, well, what about this one? I'm like, this sold, like it's actually sold and resold since this link was alive and well. So yeah, there are no like mystery properties that we're not sharing with you. We want you to see as much as you can.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
the only thing that I would add is, and it's one of the things I say to our team all the time and to clients all the time, there are no deals, there are opportunities. There are opportunities to add value. There are opportunities to see generate like neighborhoods that are on the upswing. There are opportunities all over the place, but there's no $250,000 deals below market value that you're going to find, even in a down market here. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm going to shit on my foot.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you want to look at online listings for 7 years ago, why don't we go find a 1952 newspaper and we'll buy some land in Muskoka for $500. And,
or why don't we just take the Fox Marin time machine?
Yeah. Just blow off the dust off the time machine. Let's go back to 1908.
Why didn't I think of that?
And buy a house at Bay and King.
Yes.
Hilarious. Hilarious. Well, guys, in closing, is there anything you want to add? Any final thoughts? Jerry Springer, final thoughts before we take off before next week?
Jerry Springer, you're dating us again.
I know. I just shit myself.
Who is Jerry Springer?
Nice try.
Oh, you're too young to know that, Corey.
Who's Jerry Springer? I think that my last words of advice is for anyone who's listening to this, please just be aware of the way the media spins their headlines and a lot of the data that gets published. And it's really good to have heart-to-heart conversations with people that know what they're talking about and have their boots on the ground, because it is very different in the real world versus what you might see on some of these splashy clickbait articles that are out there. And they scare
100%.
people, and I get why. And they scare me too sometimes when I read them. I'm like, oh my God. So please be aware of that. I think it will give you a little bit more peace of mind to have some real deal dialogues with some smart people. Absolutely.
Our tagline, after all, is call us, we're nice, or contact us, we're nice. And it's 100% true. Even if you don't know what you're doing, reach out to us. Everyone who calls me says, I'm really sorry. I don't want to interrupt. It's a stupid question. And it's not true. I'm always happy to take calls, answer questions, help people. I don't necessarily always need to be buying and selling every single day, although that's nice. But also giving you advice now that will help you 6, 12, 18, 24 months from now is a pleasure. So reach out anytime and ask what's really going on. Yeah. That's my final thought.
Ralph, do you have a final thought?
Yeah.
You always do.
Yeah, people call me, but generally they're just calling to speak to Corey. So
fair.
Keep it up. Yeah. Keep it up.
Call me anytime.
Ralph, you're on the phone. You're on the phone all the time. People call you all the time for advice. You actually are amazing at giving exceptional advice about real estate and business, and you have like the best brain for the creative thinking out there. So anyone who schedules a call with you is lucky to get your 2 cents. They might be more entertained by me, but you are the one that's going to give them the real meat and potatoes. So
I'm so glad we're taping this.
Make that your ringtone.
Did you say taping?
Recording.
Yep, that's it for me. Anybody? You guys have anything else?
No, let me add the usual typical, remember to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and add a comment. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. Please, please, please follow us. We want to follow you. We want to know what you're up to. And if you've got comments, questions, anything else that you want to know, or future things that you want us to talk about, please put it in the chat or send us a message, like the catchphrase. What is it? It's not a catchphrase. Our slogan, we're nice. So help us out.
Contact us.
Help
we're
us out.
nice.
Can I just say one thing I've always wanted to say? Smash the subscribe button down below.
Nice. Nice.